Cause I,
Well, I don't
The
wanna
meeting,
do
the
it.
meeting started already?
No,
gonna bring up the policy, group,
Mhm.
at the executive meeting.
The next one, end of the month, right?
I think so. I think I'm not sure when the next one is, but, I'm like, how can we get this to happen, like, today?
Yeah,
Is that, I bring it up. So hopefully that happens soon.
yeah, you stepped up the last meeting, they said it'd be like a month or so.
Cool.
okay, I'm gonna start. If you're ready. Yasmin,
Yes, we're ready for you anytime.
okay, welcome to the March 13, 2025. Standing Outreach Committee meeting. If you would please call the roll. Should I call the roll?
I can support Aaron. Commissioner Byer,
Here,
Commissioner Rodriguez,
Here.
Commissioner Flores,
Here.
and Commissioner Canson is on her way. Thank you.
any non-agenda public comment?
We have no in-person non-agenda public comment and no virtual participants other than staff.
Okay, the fourth item is a staff report by you, Community Engagement Coordinator.
Yes, thank you. I will keep this brief. I just wanted to share with you all what we did between last meeting and today. We gave 13 presentations in the months of February and early March, and that we engaged approximately 240 people. These are the planning groups I'm sharing screen on the planning groups and committees we've attended and gave those presentations at. I've also attended the community event hosted by the NAACP and gave an announcement about the commission there. And we're also attending a couple community events this month, but we're pausing for presentations this month and picking back up in April due to the month of Ramadan, and the presentations often fallen in the same time as one would break their fast. Yeah, so I'll keep my report short. Today I'm happy to later in the agenda share more about some of the action items we've identified for me last time, such as the Know Your Rights presentation and the changes made to the CPP 101 presentation. Happy to take questions.
Now, relative to pausing the presentations because of the restrictions imposed on you by Ramadan, can't you just shift that delegate to somebody else, like let a commissioner volunteer to do that?
Yes, absolutely. The ones that we weren't able to reschedule or identify another time, that was my plan. And then the ones that they were able to offer us a different time, I chose the different time. My idea was, I was hoping to have commissioners attend some of the presentations we had scheduled in February, so they see the presentation live and can ask me any questions if they have any before they do it themselves. But no one was able to join any of the presentations.
Yeah, thank you, Yasmin.
Did you badly?
Yeah, we're.
Mine.
We
Yeah.
also tabled at the Festival of Love in City Heights as well in February.
Good job. Really, that's a lot of work this has been doing. Commissioner Canson just walked in.
Hi, Commissioner Canson.
Hello.
Your badge. Oh,
She rang the bell.
Were there
So it
any,
worked for the elevator.
yeah, it just didn't work for the front door.
Oh, I didn't try it for
Oh,
that.
it didn't work. Mine didn't work. Okay, all right, thank you for the staff report. The chair report is about, which is agenda item 5. I attended the Haitian Community Public Forum on Saturday, March 2nd. it was at 4 p.m. It was at Ebenezer Baptist Church in City Heights. And it was a really interesting experience. The place was absolutely full. The services were going on as I got there. The services were conducted in Haitian Creole. I wasn't dressed well enough because everyone was dressed beautifully, suits and ties and, you know. But they took me up to the very front row, sat me in the very front row. And when the services ended, they had the community forum right there. All the members of the congregation stayed there. And so the first presentation was by two SDPD officers who worked at beat. One was a sergeant, and their focus was on letting the Haitian community know that they weren't targeting immigrants or refugees, that they were reminding the Haitian people who were immigrants or refugees that they can call SDPD. SDPD is not going to turn them over to ICE. It's what they suggest. They didn't actually say that. There was also a comment that typically the services had like 600 people, whereas that day I went at 400 people because the people were afraid of that very reason that ICE would be there. So SDPD presented for briefly. Then the County of San Diego had a representative there with flyers and brochures who gave an extensive talk about finding people jobs, finding people housing, that Haitian immigrant refugees, finding housing, jobs, and healthcare. They had flyers and everything. They had a nice presentation. Then two nonprofits spoke after that. One was to help the Haitian people get legal help and, you know, access to legal services. And I forget what the other one was. And then they called me. Well, I thought you were going to be there, Yasmin, but there was no one there but me. So I didn't have any flyers. I didn't have a PowerPoint. I had nothing. So that was a little bit awkward, but I just told them generally what we do, who we are and what we do. And I got off the stage quickly. And that was it. But it was a really terrific experience for me. But I think in our last meeting, we had talked about getting flyers or something, brochures or flyers. So hopefully we can do that. So the next time one of us shows up, we have something to compete with the County of San Diego and those guys who all that really nice stuff to give out. And that's the end of my report. If there's no comment, we'll go on.
I do have comments, because I like what you mentioned, I'm not sure if this is. Yasmin, it's more of a question for you, you may not know the answer or not, but. Do we have an amount of budget for like community resources, outreach resource, like, you know, brochures or. Like when we do events like this, you know, can we order some pens that says CPP or, you know, those type of incentives is there a budget for that?
Yeah, I think we talked about this briefly last meeting, and Commissioner Byer, apologies, I actually wasn't able to make it. That's why I emailed you all asking if anyone else is able to make it. But in regards to the budget, we talked about this briefly last meeting, and my recommendation was to bring it up to the executive committee because they're in charge of the budget, and allocating the budget. So right now, we don't have a specific budget for community outreach or outreach committee, but I definitely recommend that we request a budget so we're able to order items like you're saying, like pens, anything else you all identify, even maybe if you want shirts that say commissioners on them, so that when you're showing up, for example, Commissioner Byer, you have that identification on you as you're presenting. Highly recommend that, and I'm in full support of it.
Thank you,
On that-
that's on me, I must have forgot to add it to my notes.
On that note,
Actually,
I kept note of that from last meeting and I already created a budget that breaks out every single thing we need to discuss.
yeah,
Beautiful.
we're jumping ahead because that's an action item. We're going to address it.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I mean, I have a
I got
proposed
ahead of
budget that's like
myself.
not finalized because I don't know the actual cost of the things we have, but I know the services we have. I just don't know if we should also take those on separately in-house. And it's probably not my turn yet, but also talk to that later.
Okay, well, we can just, let's see. That concludes the comment on the chair report about the Haitian Community Public Forum. We can go on to our discussion and action items. So, item A is upcoming future presentations, appearances and discussions. And what I wanted to discuss there is that, we need a calendar of these presentations. The Haitian one, we got an email like 4 days ahead of time, and I was able to move things around and attend, but I need to know farther out than that. And I'll be glad to attend more, so if we could actually get a calendar submitted to, the entire commission of upcoming presentations and, appearances. We could get more volunteers, I think, and, you know, I really like doing those things. I think they're great. So if we could do that, that would be an action item for you, Yasmin.
Yeah, I'm happy to put a calendar in. The thing is, sometimes requests are actually sent to us very last minute, similar to the one I sent you guys. In those instances, I'll send an email if it's timely. But in general, I'm happy to, I have an internal calendar. I can actually make an external version of it. And of every month, beginning of the month, send a general email to the entire commission, letting them know what we have already scheduled and what might be scheduled in the future. Does that cover it? Would you like it per month?
I don't know, what do you guys think?
Per month would be great, actually, if you can, that'd be really
Yeah.
nice.
Everything we
Jasmine.
have scheduled is already on my internal calendar, and we have stuff scheduled through June, actually.
Oh my
So I
God.
can either, I can send you like April alone, or I can send you everything we have scheduled. What do you prefer?
Can you send everything we have scheduled?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, that would help me calendar, because I can plan ahead and not go on vacation or something.
Yes, for sure. Happy to do that. I'll get that out ASAP.
Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, right, that's item A. Item B, let's set our next meeting. What's a convenient date and time for all of us to meet for our next outreach meeting?
Is it once a month?
So it's whenever we have to, no less than quarterly, but you know, we have a lot of work to do.
For now, cause I do want to, hopefully see if we can get something moving, get the executive committee, aware of that discussion on the budget. Hopefully start getting some things on orders and things like that, so for now, let's meet every second Thursday, just kind of keep it.
Yeah. I mean, I propose we kind of do one in person and one remote.
We can't do remote.
We can?
We're a standing committee.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, you know what? The worst thing you can say is no.
Yeah, so. Let me see, that falls, if no one has anything, April 10. As of right now, I
Yeah.
don't think that should.
I'm clear.
I'm good. That sounds great.
How about you?
Me too.
And is this the time we want? That's the time you need, right?
It's
Yes,
Thursday.
it's 30, okay,
I'm okay with it.
okay.
I just to flag, I will be out of the office April 10th, but happy to coordinate with staff for staff support.
Yeah.
Thank
no,
you.
Yeah. I should be free.
And I'll send update via email on my action items.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yasmin.
Okay,
Perfect. All right.
website, are we able to connect to that TV?
Think so. Want to connect right now?
Well, our next item is the website
Okay.
review and modification.
We all got our computers open.
And we have the presentation on
I think this is what we need.
the.
It's fine.
Okay. Well, we could,
Possible, but it's not. So.
we could skip the website review at this time and move to Armando's meeting communication.
For the website view, me and Yasmin met at 3:30 today and we discussed the website and we both have action items and we're discussing it. I'd like to table it for today, but I wanna come back to it and come up and talk more to it next meeting, if that's okay.
Okay, sure. So we're gonna table, website review and modification until next meeting.
But I promise that there is quite a bit there and we're working through it.
I know.
And Yasmin has been great to be able to meet with me today. Thanks, Yasmin. We had a really good meeting. So.
No. Okay, right. Yours? Okay.
All right, before we jump off this topic though, do we know, based on your discussion,
Mhm.
how and what we can put into our website?
We do, a lot of it. So we can work with, like volunteers who work on public data that's accessible, to San Diego and that we've even created. Which there is data sets that are, on the city website that, we've contributed to. They can take that, they can, put that in a GIS like map system. And they can integrate, like we can work on integrating that within the website with the help of the city. The city, we have an IT team that we work with typically, and we can communicate and add things to that. But in contrast, like the mayor's office would have a comms team and their own individual IT people. And they have the ability to have graphic designers in-house. They have their own people to work specifically on, marketing, on analytics, on these things that we do not have in-house. We have just the ability of saying, hey, we want these things, can you put them on the website? We don't have the curation ability, the ability to create those specific elements in the website, because we don't have in-house graphic designers.
Okay, question.
Mhm.
Suppose a commissioner writes, what would consider an editorial or an opinion page. Do we have to run it by somebody to get a clearance before we can put it on our website?
I run it by part, it's always safe, but still.
I don't mean that, I mean outside of the commission.
I don't believe so, but I would, I would say bring it up in this committee and we can talk about it. But I doubt that would present an issue. We can really create, we can curate the website to be a voice for the commission. And we can, discuss different opportunities to make that easier for the commissioners.
Yeah, the municipal code has a specific section saying what we have to do, what we have to communicate, so we have to put that, we have to include that. But I was thinking about other things, but anyway, thank you for that. And so that will be an action item, and we'll talk about that in depth at the next meeting. Okay, great. That brings us to item D, media communications. That's you, Commissioner Flores.
Yeah, of course. So, what I was hoping we could do is, instead of having a media team separate from the community engagement team, we can integrate that. And so what we do, because the chair is ultimately the person who would communicate with the media. And so would be the executive director, hopefully, when we really define those rules. But we would be the strategy behind it. We would understand the impact of the public statements. We would be able to discuss them before they go out. We would be able to, really determine if this needs to be translated in multiple languages, if this needs to be sent to a specific demographic, to really make the biggest impact and to be sure that all of the news agencies are seeing this, because we're able to communicate that and have our list of people that we send it to.
Give me a specific example of what you're talking about.
So let's say there is for example, we would really love to release a statement. The unfortunate incident that happened recently with the 16-year-old that was.
Right.
In that instance, all of us commissioners feel that, we would probably want to do a public statement to the sentiments and to let the public know that we want to, look at this further. And that we are, we're on it, we're looking at this, we're actively working to get more information, because that's something that we want to do. That's
Yeah.
transparent, that's allowing the public to see that we're engaged in the things that are happening at the moment. And that we also have an action plan going forward.
And so someone would draft something for us to be put onto the website.
We would draft it and we would run it by Bart.
We, the
And then
outreach committee.
the outreach committee would be the people that construct that, and if the chair has something they would like to say, they would have to go through us first. For example, before they can let it out into the world.
I love that idea.
I think that it'll allow for multiple perspectives. And it'll allow us to really engage with the biggest issues that may be affecting the city at any given time. That any of the commissioners may feel passionate about. They can write an email to this committee. And they can say, hey, I really hope that we can send a public statement for this, because this is affecting my community.
I like that.
I love it.
Keep the voice consistent.
Yeah.
And, the community would find a use for our website. They would have a reason to go to the website and say, oh, this is what they're thinking about now, this is what
Yeah.
they're talking, this is what they're doing now.
Our public statements, like our opinion pieces, would be in one space where we can communicate that with the media and we can also communicate that with the public.
That's
Um,
wonderful.
Yeah, as long as, Bart always have to sign off on it,
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's safe to say that Bart will,
cause,
Yeah.
yeah, for
but
sure.
that's what Gloria would do as well. She would talk to Dwayne and they would discuss the impact of her statements. And but like this would just allow for more perspectives to take on that statement and to be integrated within that statement.
And certainly we would, have our general counsel look at it to make sure we're not breaking any laws.
Yeah.
Right,
And then I would trust that you would look at anything I write or Ada would and say, no, that's tone deaf,
So,
or no,
like-
that's not fair,
Right.
that's.
for
agree.
example, you know, you mentioned saying, you know, like, we're doing what we can, like, for example, during now, we're not able to. Be part of the active investigations, we
Yeah.
only look at, so it'd be something like, you know, we're keeping, you know. This in mind to see what policy recommendations we could make to prevent or mitigate, whatever the case is. But yeah, that's why we kind of just, as long as we always make sure it goes through, you know, some type of legal eye, we're good.
Yeah,
I think that's a
Right.
great idea.
And so we can present this hopefully to the full commission and say, this is the idea, this is what we're doing, and then start doing this after the next meeting. If we have, I don't know if anyone has to vote on it, I think this is just something that we can take on since that is already something that Doug has said that we should discuss and take on here in this committee.
That's this committee's responsibility.
Exactly, so I don't know if that takes on I mean, do we have to vote on it here, or do we have to do anything different? I'm not sure.
I don't know, I'll find out between now and the next meeting.
Thank you.
I think that's great, and even allow like comments.
Yeah.
And, yeah. That's awesome.
Yay.
Oh, we get a pen.
I got extras, cause I like to write different colors. So that's the next one for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we're jumping up to item E already. Review of prior section action items, so. One of the things that I was assigned was creating a cheat sheet to remind commissioners what we should, think about when we appear in public. So that's it, A and B. But I'm glad to take any editorial comments, suggestions, corrections.
Okay,
This is essentially derived from the confidentiality agreement we had to sign, plus the municipal code sections. And really, our only limitation is we can't reveal anything that we learned in closed session
of
or
course.
we learned from IA.
So I'm gonna read it out loud since this is being recorded. Commissioner public comment reminder sheet and making public remarks, commissioners should avoid. A, communicating any information obtained from a commission review of a specific case, including any information obtained from internal affairs investigations that would allow a member of the general public to identify a specific case or the officer involved in that case. And B, discussing any aspect of any case reviewed by the commission in any way that would allow a member of general public to identify specific case or the officer involved in that case unless that case information has already been made publicly available. Fair, straight, cut dry. I do recommend adding just normal ethics, kind of, anything that would refrain from making, comments that would make the commission make your opinions look like the commission's.
I
Um,
see.
Yeah, kind of word it somewhere like that. I'm babbling right now,
No,
but
I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
Just like when we went to the city council, we were supposed to preface our remarks by saying I'm speaking as a private.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good idea.
Would we also
Oh, yeah,
want to include anything about the mediator between the media and any specific commissioner who wants to
Exactly.
maybe speak?
Let me make a note first.
Sorry.
So,
I would say even to, preface any public comment made by a commissioner stating, this is Commissioner so-and-so speaking, not the commission.
yeah, I'm gonna add based on your observation, I'm gonna add, just say that, I'm not speaking on behalf of the entire commission. I'm not speaking on behalf of the entire commission. That sound right? I just want to keep it short and simple. What do you think?
I think that's more of a BART area.
But if they are wanting to speak on behalf of the commission though, they should still partner with us, I feel, because there are instances where people are gonna wanna talk to pretext stop chair or people that run these committees and they're gonna wanna know where we're at and if we have any comments too. And I feel like in some instances where there was like maybe a need for it, language even, someone knows Spanish or, like there is that need to be able to curate or help that commissioner with those statements that they are gonna make. And we can always run that by BART, but that specific need is there because that language is needed for that community or that specific type of information can only be communicated by someone in a place of authority, like yourself.
Yeah, so are you talking about like published statements or written statements?
Yeah, the protocol behind that.
Okay, well, this is more along the lines of what I just did when I went to the Haitian community
Got it, okay,
and spoke to them.
yeah,
But you're thinking broader in terms of any communication by a commissioner to the public.
yeah, cause I wanna say,
Trying-
oh, sorry, you can't, but I wanna say like,
That's-
hey, come to us because we wanna help you. And we
That's a
wanna make sure
good
that you're safe.
conversation. I think there's a lot of division in that, cause I could see that, but I could see a lot of risk.
Oh, I can see all this too.
In a sense that, typically for organizations, it's typical to have assigned spokespersons because of how different, our communication language can be.
Yeah.
When it comes to language, maybe a signed language or, especially for the topics that we deal with, is so rooted in like opinion.
Well, you hit the nail on the head. There's a diverse group of people with diverse opinions.
Right.
And so do we control or do we allow different voices to be heard? And I think our policy manager might have some thoughts on this subject. Do you have any thoughts on how the commissioners make
I mean,
statements?
so I mean, I had to stop when we were talking about what to put on the website. I'm always thinking about like the strategy, so like it's the chain of communication, like how ideas are getting put out may have an effect on our ability to do policy or conduct some sort of business. I would just like have that in consideration.
For example,
For example, if a commissioner shares an idea that the commission doesn't hold, and then somebody gets a hold of that, and then now you have the police union kind of blasting that as like our opinion, right? It gives us negative heat, political blood for no reason. There's no upside to it. So I would keep that in mind if you were trying to restrict speech, not restrict speech, but if you're trying to
Moderate
have the,
content.
yeah, exactly.
I hate the word restrict.
Yeah.
Not,
He didn't
I
say
know,
that.
but not,
But kind of like, you do want commissioners to feel the ability to, you know,
Right, so,
communicate and advocate.
you want everybody's voice to be heard, but there has to be, you know, a way to convene, like properly communicate that, even if we're not
Yeah.
all on the same page. Because
Mhm.
what is the majority vote?
Yeah, so we have
What
to
is-
understand that this space, commissioners are people that are advocating for their community, and they're gonna be vocal, they're gonna be, we have to acknowledge that that's who they are. That's why they're here, they wanna be able to, you know, talk to the things that they bring.
Care about.
It's
And they care
inclusion.
about,
we
and
need
they
it.
wanna be able to speak to a community, whether it's their specific community or the community as a whole.
Yeah.
It's something that we can't disallow people from doing, but we have to acknowledge that they're gonna do it, and we have to guide them in the best way to do that, that's gonna safeguard us and them. Because it's not gonna help anyone if we just say, go do it yourself.
Well, I know, everyone is very careful, but, it's a philosophical thing, and we're gonna end up moderating this, reaching middle ground.
Yeah,
My feelings are a little bit different, that I think everyone's straight about whatever the hell they want. And, we'll deal with the consequences, but I know that that's sort of an extreme view, and it has to be moderated, and there has to be other content, but, it's because we're a diverse group of people with our own opinions, our own life experiences,
yeah.
as you said, you know, so,
Look, there's risk in letting people do everything that they wanna do.
great.
And, well, not great, because they maybe don't understand that risk, and so really diving into that risk. And fully acknowledging it, coming from a lawyer's perspective, you know the risk. I maybe don't, and other people who say things without really considering that impact. Don't know that risk, and they may have a harder time of navigating that situation.
Yeah.
So they can't do that, they can't take that stance on their communication style. So,
Again, I'm talking about situations where we're out in public, not what we're posting online or.
I'm talking about both.
Yeah.
You're talking about both. I was talking about that.
so, yeah,
Commissioner at-
I kind of went on yeah,
But you're right, what we put in print,
yeah,
things that are permanent. Certainly we have to be scrupulous about.
everything.
That was my point.
Oh, yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Becky, getting back to this thing, do you have any thoughts?
Oh, no, I'm not listening. I'm just listening.
Okay. So getting back to this, I'm gonna modify this sheet that I gave you, the Commissioner Public Comment Reminder Sheet, to add what, Commissioner Rodriguez, or First Vice Chair Rodriguez suggested, and then I'll bring it back at the next meeting,
Yeah, that's good.
Sounds good.
for another action item probably. Something else?
No, I was just thinking about the language.
You can mark it up if you want.
Commissioner Buyer, may I just, if you can please send the electronic version to Alina so she can include it in the minutes.
It's just a draft, and Commissioner Rodriguez, our First Vice Chair Rodriguez read it into the record. So you think we need to have a hard copy or a digital copy added?
That's my understanding, but we can, I can check in with Bort to confirm if you'd like.
I can check it, Bart, thanks.
No problem.
Something just came to mind, just an idea. I see here the Know Your Rights draft presentation.
Hey, that's the next item.
I know, but it is, but something just popped up. Go ahead, you first.
No.
No, I just thought about it. You know, we want to involve community. I had a conversation with amazing Commissioner Flores, and I just looked at Know Your Rights draft presentation, and I realized the people who are actively present in our meetings are from a lot of organizations that work specifically with topics like this. We should kind of put out a notice for a volunteer video to add to the slide when we're presenting by somebody from some organization.
Yeah.
With a quick, know your rights,
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
to engage the community, to participate and become part of our mission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if with that in mind, if we're allowed to bring in our resources, like our translator for the city, if it's sign language, for example. or if
It's
like-
called volunteering, absolutely.
Yeah,
We want to do that, that's.
yeah. And so we can say, hey, we want to create this specific presentation that you already have. For this community, and we can provide sign language. Or the interpreter, or we can provide, this person who can,
Absolutely.
because we have those resources and we have, the resources we have that we can share with the community.
And Kate, you and Eddie volunteered on the Know Your Rights thing, because they have materials prepared that we can bring in.
They're eager, and I just think we need to present the community with the opportunity to participate.
Let's have them send them all to us right now. Like, if you're hearing this, send everything you have.
How,
Right
how,
now.
How, I'm not sure what would be the appropriate formal way of doing it. It could be through our meeting. It would have to be some sort of application, maybe through the CPP website. And maybe an ad through the CPP social media. Anybody interested in maybe a direct reach out to these nonprofits that are so active with us, like SD Alliance and the Coalition of Justice and,
and what do we say? What are we saying to them?
We would like to, we can discuss coming up with a narrative on how to request, see if they're interested in participating, but I think they would jump at the opportunity.
Yeah, it's like a RFP, kind of, right?
Oh, you
Right.
present at our presentations, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, like something to add to our person, give it color, give it, vibrant, not so just always.
You mean like during the public comment section?
No, like just for our presentation, for the draft.
When we go out to community.
When
groups.
you're presenting
Oh,
like
Okay. Did you mean like a
PowerPoint,
video? Yeah.
like something to add,
Mhm.
more interact, because we're not professionals. I need to refresh myself on my reins,
I saw that when you made, it was great,
Huh?
that one you made, that you showed us at a different meeting,
Oh,
was that pretext?
yeah, but
That was great.
that's gathering data, I could miss an important, or I could be misinformed. So, people in these nonprofit, that they're passionate about this is
Yeah.
what they
But
do.
we want to amplify their voice, and we want to make sure they're heard,
Absolutely.
and that the community voices that, really want to, that are gonna make an impact.
I
They
think
have us to support them.
we're so passionate that I think we want to do everything, and we need to realize that the help is around and people want to help, we just need to
Yeah,
ask.
Most definitely.
I had a good conversation with someone at a meeting, I went to a meeting in the Chicano community a couple weeks ago. And this was a GIS expert who works on police accountability, and he's like, if you guys need data experts, there's, the people at ESET who. Work on GIS, and they would love to volunteer for this, they would love to do this for, honestly, like, there are a bunch of. People who are just like ready to take on something to do with this topic. And to support this organization, like, you should just email them, trust me, like, they wanna help you. That's
Right.
one of the leaders who's been doing this for 20 years, told me this, and I'm sure that that's true. We should have to take the opportunity.
What pops into your head when you hear that?
I'm just thinking about the nonprofits we can engage, but, Ada, I was thinking about your idea, were you more interested in the process of soliciting volunteers through the application process, or did you have like a project in mind and then nonprofits in mind that we could reach out to?
I have so many in mind, I cannot spit one out right now, like,
I'm just saying, like, what was your preference, like, did you wanna just go like target some nonprofits that you think would
target
fit?
nonprofits, I don't wanna do like the whole route that's gonna take forever. And you
Yeah.
could just start on conversation, like, hey, we're brainstorming on involving the community more. Are you interested in XYZ, or is there
Yeah.
anything, you think
that
your
happens in government
organization
all the
has to
time.
offer?
Yeah, we used to do that at the county, you could find some nonprofits to partner up with and.
Right.
make some stuff happen.
Absolutely.
Having to do it.
You know, maybe a good first step is, there's the racial equity and
Yeah,
inclusion.
You said Miller?
Actually, I was thinking about the department that just got brought into HR for
Oh,
the city, racial equity justice, I think is what they're, I talked to Helen from it. I met with her a couple weeks back. And they're creating curriculum, you know, for SDPD on this, but they also, I'm sure, have partners that they've had since their inception, who have created marketing materials for them and who can probably help us, and we're already helping them. And so it's not a quick sell because they've already been doing this for years. It's like we can
Next meeting's on there.
go that path.
Yes, I mean, that's right.
I didn't even see that there's a video
Oh.
going because it's.
Oh, no worries. You can
Oh,
finish
the-
your thought. I didn't.
Huh?
Armando, you can finish your thought. I can wait.
That was it.
Oh.
Thank you.
I was just gonna add that after actually Kate mentioned the Know Your Rights presentations in one of our meetings, I reached out to her and we have an email thread with the National Lawyers Guild in San Diego, different members that give the Know Your Rights presentations, and we're scheduling a meeting to identify ways we can collaborate. So
Awesome.
just wanted to mention that.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Yasmin.
Yasmin, if you don't mind, just kind of keeping us in the loop on that, and just on the meeting as possibly optional if we're able to join.
Sure, I will loop you in. We haven't landed on a date, but I will share that once we do.
Absolutely.
Yasmin, could you do me a favor as well and reach out to the Department of Race and Equity and see if they have any partners that they would like to do a warm handoff to us, because I know they're getting integrated with HR and maybe they have partners that still want to do this, and maybe we can support them in making sure that that still is a long-lasting relationship with the city.
Regarding Know Your Rights specifically or in
Yeah,
general?
know your rights and resources that, you know, that maybe would fall in line with what we're talking about today.
Okay.
Because I'm sure they've been doing the same kind of work for years. So maybe it's worth reaching out and seeing if we don't have to, you know, recreate the wheel then.
ACLU too.
ACLU, yeah.
Yeah, and we also have a lot of relationships with these orgs as well. So I can pull up the list or send it via email if you all want to identify some of the ones you're interested in working. We can make a meeting together or invite them to the next committee meeting if you all would like.
Absolutely.
yes,
Yeah.
And in that, conversation, kind of like, hopefully when they have events and things, you know, we can say, hey, make sure you keep us in mind. We'll love to table at your event or whatever the case may
Yeah.
be.
Awesome.
Yeah, but all right, Alec, back to you. I didn't mean to
Okay.
derail the.
we're fine. We're not derailed, we're right on track, but it's 7:22, so we're gonna move into the wrapping up phase. So, action items for next time, Alec is gonna ask Bart about what I have to attach to the minutes. I'm gonna find out if we need the full commission to vote on website content, or if we decide that, or how that's gonna work, mechanically, procedurally. We're set for it, and at least our next meeting is set, and we're considering every other Thursday. Right,
Right.
and any other action items I missed?
Can I add, well, there was one that, the budget breakdown for the media.
Yeah, I added that to mine.
I thought we had that from last time, I just wasn't sure.
The what?
The.
Oh,
budget,
yes, to go
Cause
through it.
cause I.
So I was gonna ask, because of the time, can you send what you have in an email to all of us and just write,
To
do not
Yasmin.
reply?
Yeah,
Well,
I
I was
don't
just
think that
gonna,
works.
I was just gonna throw out the categories and see if there's any other categories you guys wanted.
Okay, send it to Yasmin, and have Yasmin send it to us, because I tried that blind CC thing or the do not reply thing, and I get this vibe like, nah, don't do
Yeah, I
that.
mean, is the best way forward for that to send it to you and then for you to send it
Does
to
that
all of
sound
us?
good?
And go
Yeah,
through
no
as-
problem.
Okay,
Okay.
perfect.
Cool.
And then we can discuss at the next one in detail. I don't recall off the top of my head, but is the executive committee meeting, do we have a date for that, the
I
next
don't.
one?
I was just checking, I don't have a date.
Put on your notes that April, what did we say,
April
10?
10.
That's contingent if the executive meeting happens prior to, because a lot of our action items would be discussed in the executive meeting. Like your question on the decision on the website, whether that's a commission or a committee thing, that could be decided on the executive meeting, so there would be an update for that. Does that make sense?
Possibly.
Yeah.
I don't know if we need to go to the executive committee, but we'll find out. But you're right, we don't have an executive committee meeting scheduled that I can see.
I believe it should be on the last Wednesday of the month, the 26th.
Oh, March 26th?
Okay, so we're good then.
No, I have to check my calendar out, man. And would that be 4:30? Yasmin, do you know if that's at 4:30?
If they stick with what you guys have done previously, yes.
Yeah, if they do, okay. Thank you. All right. Well, if there's no further comment or discussion and no public comment, and anybody want to add anything?
I'm sure it's fixed.
No.
I thought there was anything else, right?
This is all new to me, so this is my first time.
You wanna get on the do's and all that?
I got, look at my beautifully, no.
No, I think we gotta set straight, action items and already good things for next agenda,
Yeah,
the budget, the website, to reach out to the. And then, Yasmin says she'll email us about the know your right. Yeah, I think we're good.
okay, that being the case, then I call this meeting concluded.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you too.